Hello everyone, I want to talk to you today about some changes we're making in the investment portfolio today. And what we did back several months ago, we took a little bit of money off the table in your investment portfolios, and that was about 50 to 60% for most of you. We moved it into short-term government bonds. We've brought a little bit of that back in, but now we're getting ready to put about half of it back into the market today. And so many of you have 40 to 50% of your investment portfolio is in short-term government bonds, and we're going to invest about half of that today. Now, most of you also have a significant amount of fixed indexed annuities for your safe part of your portfolio. So we're talking about just the investment portfolio. Right now, most of you have about 40 to 50% in short-term government bonds, and we are going to take about half of that and invest it into 4 different portfolios, which I'll talk to you about in just a minute. But why are we doing this? So back a couple months ago when we took some risk off and moved that to safety, we set up some gauges to track. And those gauges basically were going to be red, yellow, and green, and we were going to watch them and see, and when they moved mostly to green, we were going to come back into the market. Now, when we first set them up, they were all in the red, and now most of those have moved from the red to the yellow and now beginning to move into the green. Maybe I'd call it light green. So we're putting some of the money back in, not all of it yet, because there's still a few things hanging out there like the election. The pandemic is not totally over, so we're not going all back in, but about half. And what we're going back into, well, let me talk to you about those gauges. The gauges, one of them, for instance, was if they have a treatment, if there's a treatment out there for the virus, then that would be a good sign that we could move back into the market. Well, at the time, there wasn't anything that was red. It slowly moved a little bit into the yellow until just recently when a couple of the big pharmaceutical companies came out and said that they do have a treatment that they're working on. So that moved us up into the yellow, barely maybe into the light green, including though in that one, they've also now come out with research that shows the masks are working not only to help the other person, but also to help us from getting the virus. So that was a little bit of that treatment area, not really a treatment, and not a vaccine, but that's good news. So moved us up on those gauges into the light green. Of course, another one of those was a vaccine. If there was a vaccine that came out, we would also take that favorably. And now several pharmaceuticals all across the world are saying they have vaccines. They're trying to get them into production, and not a year out, but some of them now are saying maybe by the end of the year they're going to have those. So that also moved into the light green territory. Then also another one, for instance, was the stimulus package. We thought if they would do another PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, maybe a little more stimulus checks, maybe continue a little bit on the unemployment with the extra money there, maybe tweak it a little, but maybe provide a little more money for some of the bigger companies that are struggling because of the virus. So we've been tracking that. The Democrats came out with a $3 trillion plan that really didn't seem to go anywhere. So that didn't help us, but now it sounds like the Republicans are kind of saying, okay, maybe we need this. So we're hearing some news that the PPP may be back. We're hearing some news that we're going to get some more stimulus checks out there and that they may do something with the unemployment and some more money may be coming. Probably not 3 trillion, but maybe somewhere between 1 and 2 trillion, which we take as favorable. So that has moved that gauge up into the light green area. So we've got these gauges that we're tracking. Most of them are moving into a light green. That doesn't mean everything is over and great. We know there's still going to be some struggles out there, but enough of these gauges are moving in the direction, in that positive direction, that we are putting some more money back in the market. Now back to what we're investing in. We're investing in our tech stock portfolio, a fourth. So half of the money, and this is the way that half of your cash money or your short-term government bonds is going to be invested in 4 different portfolios. One is our tech stock portfolio. Many of you have had that for quite some time. It's doing very well. Also the QQQ, many of you have had that for quite some time. That's an ETF that owns the top 100 stocks of the NASDAQ, which also has been doing very well. And also VUG, that's an ETF, exchange traded fund. That's also, many of you have had that for quite some time. It's doing very well. We're going back into putting a little more into that. And then the final one is a new one, which is, we're saying that this one is really value stocks, that really high value stocks. So for instance, we're putting some more airline stocks in that. So airline stocks are about 50% down, and those are like United Airlines, Delta, Southwest, American Airlines. We throw Boeing into that group, but all of those are 50% down from the beginning of the year, and many of these stocks are in that same category. We're also doing a couple of oil companies, BP and Exxon. We're doing MGM Resorts, and so we're throwing in some of these, the big oil companies. We picked the ones that also are doing other types of renewable energies. So most of these that are down, if they're down 50%, that means they have to come, to get back to where they were at the beginning of this year, they have to come up 100%. That's 100% return to get back to where they were at the beginning of the year. So a lot of these, we're looking at these like a 2 to possibly 3 year investment in this portfolio, and really thinking it's going to get somewhere near 100% return over that time period. Now, we maybe 1 or 2 of those don't work out, and but we think there's enough opportunity in that portfolio that 1 or 2 could fail, and we still are going to get a nice return. We're not expecting that. We're not expecting any of those to fail, or we wouldn't be investing in them. But that is the high value portfolio. So a fourth of that, a fourth of VUG, a fourth of QQQ, and a fourth of the tech stock portfolio. That's all happening today. So if you have any questions about that, get on the phone, call your advisor. If there's something maybe if you don't want to do it for some reason, although most of you just allow us to manage your portfolios because that's what we do, that's part of what you pay us for. But for those of you that have questions or don't want to get that piece back into the market like that, then call in. If you have to leave a message, tell them it's urgent because you don't want to go into that. And it may be that by that time we've already invested you in it, but we can turn right back around and sell it and take it back into the short-term government bond. So make sure though you say, hey, it's urgent, I need my advisor to get back with me, if that's what you want to do. Otherwise, also Dan Moylan, our Chief Investment Manager, can be available for discussions. Probably not today because he's doing all these trades today, but perhaps tomorrow. And one more thing, for those of you that have your name on our 401k or TSP call list, those phone calls will be coming out to you today or tomorrow saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We recommend you do something similar in your 401k or TSP. So that is what's going on. That's the investments that are being made today. A little background on why we're doing it. And hope that helps. Until next time, we'll see you then.